Recapping the top stories for this week news in Jamaica. Teachers in St. Anne join in wage protests. Hundreds of students from schools across St. Anne were sent home early on Tuesday as teachers protested for an improved salary offer from the government. Visits to Ocherous Primary and Ocherous High Schools by reporters confirmed that students were being sent home. At Ocherous Primary, a few students were lingering on the compound as they waited for vehicles to pick them up. The school has refused to let them out without a parent or guardian being there to receive them. At Ocherous High School, students on the morning shift were seen leaving the premises before the regular dismissal time. The protest has also affected the Parrottown Primary and Beecherstown All-Age schools. Jamaica Teachers Association JTA delegates are to meet tomorrow to further discuss the issues affecting the teachers. Manchester teachers stage wage protests. Classes at several institutions across Manchester were disrupted after teachers stayed sick out and a peaceful protest at the wage offer made by the government. Placard-bearing teachers stood outside the gates of Manchester High School in Mandeville for an hour, declaring their unwillingness to accept a remuneration package that cannot sustain them in the current economic climate. Contact teacher at the institution, Shelley Ann Bruce Reed, said teachers deserve much more than the government is offering, and they will continue to reject the proposal if they remain unfavorable. We won't be disrupting classes today. We are just sending a message to the government to let them know that we, the teachers of Manchester High School, are not pleased with what we are getting and would like them to know that we will be rejecting the offer that they have been placed on the table. While classes at the institution were still held, schools such as Mandeville Primary and Winston Jones High had a number of students returning home as more than half the staff did not show up. According to reports, only 5 of the 48 teachers at Winston Jones High School showed up for school. Principal at Mandeville Primary School, Howard Saman, said only 29% of the teachers were present. He said, however, the students who attended school were still accommodated online and face-to-face. The government in December started the implementation of the Public Sector Compensation Review to overhaul the structure of salaries in the public service. However, teachers believe that a greater percentage of the budget should go towards an increase in salaries for them. Despite warnings that payments cannot be made from the 2023-2024 budget should workers miss the March deadline to settle, teachers remain resolute in their decision to lobby for more. Alleged robbers fatally shot by police in St. Mary. 2 men were shot and killed by the police during a shootout in St. Mary early Tuesday morning. It is reported that a police team was on patrol around 3 a.m. in Onotope when 4 men were seen loading goods from a business establishment in a white Toyota Probox motor car. Upon the approach of the lawmen, the men reported open gunfire, which was returned by the police. When the shooting subsided, 2 of the men were found suffering from gunshot wounds, while the other 2 escaped on foot. The police seized a handgun and the car. The injured men were pronounced dead at hospital. A search is on to locate the other men. Unwell cop dies in crash on way to hospital in St. Catherine. An ailing policeman was killed in a single-car crash on his way to seek medical attention in St. Catherine last Friday. The deceased has been identified as 31-year-old Constable Carter Williams, who was assigned to the Denhamtown Police Station in Kingston. Reports are that Williams, who suffered from kidney disease, fell ill while at home in Bagwalk, St. Catherine. The cop reportedly drove from his home about 11:30 p.m., heading towards the Linstead Hospital to seek medical attention. However, upon reaching the Church Road intersection in Bagwalk, the Toyota Corolla car which he was driving got out of control and hit a utility pole. Williams suffered head injuries and was rushed to the Linstead Hospital where he later died. The Bagwalk police are investigating the incident. Man shot dead in Park Lane off Red Hills Road. A man was reportedly shot and killed on Park Lane off Red Hills Road in St. Andrew earlier Saturday evening. The deceased has been identified only as his alias Bigger. Reports are that loud explosions were heard around 8 p.m. and police were called to the scene where the man was found with multiple gunshot wounds. Information reaching reporter is that police from the St. Andrew North Division were processing the scene. The area had to be cornered off. St. Catherine woman denies beating Washbelly son before his suspected suicide. Judith McLean, mother of 9-year-old Tyreek Bennett, who allegedly committed suicide on Friday, has denied claims on social media that the child took his life after being beaten by her. The distressed 49-year-old Higler from the Zambia community in Central Village, St. Catherine, told reporters that her son was a gift from God. She said under no circumstances would she have contemplated harming her wash belly, a term typically used locally to a woman's youngest child. People saying that me beat me baby and kill him, but if me beat me baby and kill him, me broke me neck to how me love me baby, she sworn. Me alone and God grow him, and from me come now and take advantage of him? No, sir. She added, and me joy, the baby look on me and say, Mommy, me I go come and take care of you. So, who wouldn't love him? She said Tyreek, who was a student at Epton Primary, was sick with the flu all week and could not attend school. But on Friday he wanted to go out for Jamaica Day celebration, and she did not allow him because of the illness. McLean said the boy was with her until she sent him back home while she set up her stall for the day's business. A resident later discovered Tyreek sitting upright in a crib with a pair of socks tied around his neck. The socks were suspended from the top of the crib. The police had ruled the boy's death as a case of suspected suicide even as investigation continued. New court date for man charged with Seneca's Grease murder. Gregory Roberts, who was charged alongside Mary Morrison with murder in relation to the 2017 death of 15-year-old Green Pond High School student Shanika Gray, will return to court on Thursday. Roberts, who is represented by attorney at law Paris, was given the new court date by presiding High Court Justice Andrea Thomas when he appeared in the St. James Circuit Court on Monday. During the proceedings, the court was told that a police officer who was supposed to review the Communications Forensics and Cybercrime Unit report had resigned. Another cop should have reviewed the report, but the Crown Counsel informed the court that the cop was requesting 3 weeks to have the certificate available to the court. Meanwhile, Paris said that Robert has been in custody for almost 6 years and that the defense has been requesting that the case be tried before a judge alone. The matter was subsequently adjourned until Thursday, March 9. Roberts was remanded. Roberts and Morrison were arrested and charged with murder after Gray's body was found on February 1, 2017, with multiple stab wounds in bushes in Irwin, St. James, 3 days after she had been reported missing. Gray, a grade 10 student, was last seen alive in Montego Bay on her way home from the funeral of a schoolmate. Morrison, who is presently serving a life sentence, had pleaded guilty to the charge last September and was sentenced the following month. Ford charged for robbing woman of items valued $100,000. 4 men were charged with robbery aggravation and receiving stolen property following an incident on Upper Elliston Road in Kingston on Tuesday, February 28. Charged are 24-year-old Dwayne McIntosh, otherwise called Deco, a laborer of Bustamante Highway, Kingston 13, 29-year-old O'Shane Reed of Carliston Place, Cumberland in St. Catherine, 19-year-old Giovanni Green, otherwise called Jaheim, a higgler of Mark Lane in Kingston, and a 17-year-old boy of Greater Portmore, St. Catherine. Reports from the Elliston Road Police are that about 10:40 p.m., a woman was walking on the roadway when she was pounced upon by occupants in a motor vehicle. 2 men alighted from the vehicle and proceeded to rob her of her personal property. A report was made to the police and an identification launched. At about 11:30 p.m., lawmen intercepted the same vehicle with the 4 accused aboard. The vehicle was searched and the complainant's properties were reportedly found. The properties have an estimated value of $100,000. McIntosh, Reed Green, and the teenage boy were charged on Monday, March 6. Clansman boss Brian, emotional after brother walks free. Clansman gang leader Andre Blackman Brian became teary-eyed in court Tuesday as he watched his brother Kevon Green walk free in the ongoing trial of alleged members of the St. Catherine-based criminal outfit. Green had remained before the court on 2 counts, which charged him with membership of a criminal organization of the 25-count indictment. Upon freeing Green, Chief Justice said that there have insufficient evidence that Green locked lanes and hoard bullets under instruction from his brother. Green, who is normally seated by his brother, with whom he from time to time engaged in whispered conversations, left the dock without a backward glance but for the tight grip on his wrist by Brian, who prevented him from shooting to his feet before the trial judge ordered him to stand. Moments later, Brian was observed with a black and white rag rubbing his masked face. Brian has been found guilty of being the leader of the notorious Clansman, along with several murders in the Marathon trial, which is in its final stages. Suspected drowning in Portland. Deceased suffered from epilepsy, cops say. Police in Portland are probing a case of suspected drowning after the body of a man washed ashore at Folly Port Antonio on Saturday morning. The body is that of 29-year-old Kevin Johnson from Anchoviland Settlement, Portland. Johnson, police said, suffered from epilepsy. It was reported that the now deceased was last seen Friday morning when he left his home. When he did not return home from lunch after 4 p.m., relatives became concerned and went in search of him. He was not seen, hence a report was made to the Port Antonio police about 8:30 Friday night. The police and relatives conducted a search in and around the Port Antonio area. However, he was not seen. About 7 on Saturday, a relative of the deceased, while searching on the Folly Oval, saw the body floating in the sea at a section of the compound. The police were summoned and upon arrival, the body was washed ashore and was seen lying on stones on its back at the seashore. The scene was processed and the body removed. The police said foul play was not suspected at this time. Frankfield Primary in Clarendon mourns passing of grade 2 teacher. The Frankfield Primary and Infant School in Northern Clarendon is in mourning over the passing of the grade 2 teacher, Tamika Jones Clark. The educator died on Friday after ailing for some time. Principal Vosper Scarlett said Jones Clark's death is a tremendous loss to the school community. He said the late educator, who taught at the institution for 15 years, was reserved but hardworking and was someone who would go the extra mile to ensure that her work was well done. She interacted well with staff and participated in almost every activity at the school that we would ask her to participate in. She was one of the instrumental persons at the school at the Good News Club, he noted. Director for the Education Ministry's Region 7, in which Clarendon falls, Barrington Richardson, said Jones Clark gave dedicated service to education and nation building. She has left a void in the hearts of her students and colleagues, he said. The senior ministry officer said a trauma team will visit the school on Monday to provide psychological support and grief counseling to staff and students. Richardson said the woman's family will also be supported. $700,000 bail for a gas station manager accused of fraud. Bail in the sum of $700,000 with surety was granted to the St. Catherine gas station office manager accused of fraud. Sasha Gay Lee is charged with larceny as a servant. In applying for bail, her attorney, Tamika Edmond, told the court that Lee is pregnant and she has a steady place of abode and that she will adhere to her bail conditions. Senior Parish Court Judge Desiree Ellen has initially granted $1 million bail with 3 sureties, but Edmond said the accused could not manage the sum. The offer was then reduced by $300,000. The matter will again be mentioned in the St. Catherine Parish Court on April 21. Allegations are that between November 1, 2022 and February 28, 2023, the accused defrauded Barrett Service Station in Spanish Town, St. Catherine out of $2.5 million. The alleged fraud was revealed when the owner could not pay his bills for stays at the gas station. An accountant conducted an audit and the missing sum was identified. Following an investigation, Lee was arrested and later charged.